Pokemon. It's one word that can honestly represent a lot of different things for a lot of different people. It may reveal memories past of watching episodes before school. It might remind you of battling and trading with an old friend you haven't spoken to in a long time. Perhaps Pokemon is still prevalent in your life today, but for me, it's the very essence of a now foregone childhood, the pixels that molded me into the man I am today, and the sounds of forgotten adventures that taught me some of my most important life lessons. Despite what your opinions are on Mega Evolution, Gigantamax, or even Ice Cream Cone guys, we can all agree that Pokemon has ingrained itself within our hearts and will remain with us for as long as we live. My Pokemon journey began much like a majority of yours would have, watching a 10-year-old travel with his companions, fighting off the ever-persistent Team Rocket, who wanted a Pikachu, who really should have been level 100 after the first few seasons. However, it wasn't the TV show that ignited my love for Pokemon, but more the games. I still have the light blue DS Lite my parents got me for my birthday in 2007. The touch screen is scratched and the hinge damaged to the point where the top screen would go red, ruining the colour of whatever game I had in, but that still never ruined the magic of the games I played. The first Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Diamond. Now I say played, not owned, because my dad got it for me as a rental from Video Easy, which is essentially a video and game rental shop in Australia. I remember getting home as a 7-year-old, eager to replicate Ash's adventures, but do them my way, with my own team. I resumed the game with the person who rented it prior, and they were most likely a child, as I loaded into a very dark cave and my team consisted of 1 Monferno and 5 Psyducks. With the help of my older sister, we reset the game card, and I began my journey into the Pokemon world, greeted by Professor Rowan, oblivious to what impact this game would truly have on the rest of my life. I played all day, clearing through gym after gym with my Shinx, Chimchar and Starly. As my journey through Sinnoh continued, each team member grew stronger as the plot of Team Galactic festered within the shadows. I can guarantee that the impatient 7-year-old I was did not make an effort to follow along with the story, but when it came time to face up against a legendary on the front of the game, you can bet the Dialga was swallowed up by my prize Master Ball. The feeling of having this seemingly unstoppable entity on my team was incredible, so I promptly named him Killer with 4 exclamation marks. After conquering what felt like an endless cave that was Victory Road, it came time for me to face the toughest of challenges, the Elite Four. The epic music mixed with the knowledge that I either return to the start as a loser or be crowned the champion created an excitement that I just can't explain. My team withstood the attacks of the strongest Pokemon in the region, and the joy I felt when I defeated Cynthia was unreal. At the time, I figured I would feel no emotion as strong as the one I felt when the team I'd erased through trials and tribulations was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Until the time was up on the rental and I had to give the game back. The emptiness I felt must have consumed me. However, the consolation was that someone would be able to possibly open my save and admire my team before their older sibling would help them reset the game, allowing them to start a journey of their own. My love for Pokemon had been born. I invested into playing and watching Pokemon like it was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and frankly, it was. No matter what game your journey started with, the experience was incredible and truly unparalleled to any other game I'd played. I was fortunate enough to have a group of friends who played Pokemon as well, and you bet as 10-year-olds we ran around the school oval with our Pokewatches, showing off our prize catches from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I could now share my love of Pokemon with my friends at school, but unfortunately, my Pokewatch would meet its demise as it went through the washing machine in my school shorts, deleting whatever Pokemon was trapped on it. However, by this stage, primary school was coming to an end, and I guess it was somewhat time to grow up. Generation 5 had just been released, and Pokemon White was truly the first game I understood story-wise. It was perfect. The theme of truth and ideals, music and world building created a spectacle that is possibly unmatched by any other Pokemon game to date. However, it didn't suck me in like Pokemon Diamond once had. The reason was my friends who had once played with me weren't as invested into it as I still was. The second reason is simply Minecraft. I was 11, the perfect demographic for this game, and I was addicted. much like a lot of kids my age. My light blue DS lay untouched for a long time. I didn't even purchase black or white too. Pokemon had truly lost its spark for me. Until ironically it was high school, the time period that I thought would force me to grow out of the game that would reignite my love for Pokemon, and to a larger extent that I'd had when I first played Diamond. My first year of high school was when Pokemon X and Y would be released, and the year I would meet my best friends, who were also Pokemon fans. The new games released, we decided between the three of us to choose a different starter. I chose the grass type Chespin, and with every new generation game, I would pick the new grass type, while my friends would also pick their same type. This was also the first generation of the 3DS, which would suddenly open up features that I'd never had access to. I could trade and battle with people I'd never met before. This pushed me in the direction of competitive battling, a whole new realm of Pokemon that I never knew existed. You could breed the perfect Pokemon through IVs and manipulate its stats to be as strong as it could through EVs. I was learning more and more about the game.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the 2013 Pokemon World Video Game Championships here in Vancouver.
I had no idea there was a formal Pokemon Championship, and I would have no idea how much my life would revolve around it. The concept of playing in a real-life tournament was exactly what I had dreamed of when I was younger. So one of my best friends, Sean, and I decided to travel to Melbourne for the 2014 Oceania VGC National Championship. The format of VGC is doubles. You bring a team of 6, and upon matching up with your opponent, you select 4 to battle with. This was also the same year we saw Sagen Park win Worlds with a Pachirisu. Seriously, a Pachirisu. My team wasn't too flash, and I remember I used my in-game Mega Ampharos, a level 48 Greninja who I didn't actually have time to level up to 50, and my in-game Noivern amongst some other trash Pokemon. But despite this, I somehow won 3 games and lost 4. And it was one of the most amazing atmospheres and environments I'd ever been in. After the event, Sean and I decided that we were going to work hard and come back to next year's tournament stronger. The release of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire began the season of VGC 15. I was 14 and in year 9 at the time, and saying that my life was consumed by this game was an understatement. Sean and I would sit in class, discussing and attempting to construct the perfect and unstoppable team. I would go home and sit at my desk on Pokemon Showdown all night, building teams and testing them out. The Victorian Regional Tournament was approaching, and I was ready, but nervous. The team I chose to use was based on a gimmick I saw a YouTuber do. It was simple. Azumarill would use Ballydrom while Amoonguss would use Rage Powder. This meant Azumarill would be max attack, while Amoonguss had taken all the damage and dealt it back with his Rocky Helmet. Azumarill would then Aqua Jet everything, one-shotting him, and if she was taken out, I would use Mega Kangaskhan to clean up. There were roughly 100 participants in my division, and I went 6-1 in the tournament, making the top 8 for finals. Sean would miss out by 1 game, and we didn't really get to live the dream of playing against each other in the grand final match. However, my off-meta team was too much for the meta slaves in the finals, and I would win the first round. Then beat the kid that was favoured to win in the tournament, much to his disappointment, as he would message me on Twitter and call my team cheesy. I was in the final match of the tournament, 2 wins away from winning something that I'd worked so hard for. With my DS connected to the big projector screen, I played in front of maybe 200 people, as it was late at night and most people had gone home. But I felt like I was playing to win the Pokemon League, and I had that same rush of excitement 7 years ago about to face Cynthia.
Regardless. And Tareki was going to finish him off with the close call. I ran the call, ladies and gentlemen, from New Melbourne Regional Champ, Jschlatt.
I won. I looked back at Sean as the crowd quietly cheered, and I was stunned. This is kind of a face reveal, but here's Zigby before the big match. Very handsome, I know. I felt like a god, but I would return to school, just an ordinary kid who hadn't accomplished a great victory. Fast forward to Nationals, which are to be held in Melbourne again. To qualify for Worlds, you would need to be top 8 in championship points within your division and your country, and I was currently like 4th because I'd won regionals. However, the top 2 in championship points would actually get free flights and accommodation to Worlds, which are to be held in Boston, America. There was nothing I wanted more in the world than this, as not only could I have a chance to play on the big stage, but I'm a big fan of the Boston Celtics and maybe could have seen a game. However, the meta had shifted and I wasn't finding success with the Zoomer rule, so I built a rain team for the big tournament. Kingdra had a life orb and combined with Swift Swim was insanely strong using Muddy Water. Yes, Muddy Water. Not many teams were prepared for the powerful rain and life orb boosted Muddy Waters from a Kingdra, and I won match after match. There were more participants for Nationals, I think maybe 200, but long story short, I lost one game for the whole day to someone using Swagger, which meant RNG decided the win. But I'd made the top 16 and could possibly win this tournament. Sean had unfortunately just missed out by one game, which was crushing as he had worked just as hard as I have. I knew these other 15 kids were the best of the best, but I was confident. I won the first round, countering a Tyranitar sand team with my Politoed, and I won the next round too. I was in the top 4, and even if I won this and lost the championship game, I would have enough points for free flights and accommodation to America. My family had travelled 2 hours to see me play, and I had to win. The opponent I faced had not lost a single game the whole tournament, so I knew he would be tough. He beat me in the first game, as he played safe and used the full turn timers, so the game would expire with his Pokemon, with more total HP. I was suddenly nervous, but I won the second round with a massive play, switching my Ferrothorn into a fake out from his Kangaskhan, dealing huge damage with Rocky Helmet and Iron Barbs. That was the first game he had lost. The third game began and we both played safe, making no risky moves. I played perfectly, and it resulted in my full health Ferrothorn up against his Amoonguss. All I had to do was let the time run out, and I would be on my way to America. I was so happy, excited, until the judge for some reason said I couldn't just let the time run out, despite my opponent doing it in the first game. For some reason, I didn't argue this. Watching this back fills me with emotions. I sat there and I watched as his Amoonguss slowly Giga drained my Ferrothorn, taking health and gaining it back. When the time expired, he had more HP, and he won. Got up and he screamed with happiness, and I just slumped in my chair because I'd choked. Here I was sitting on the stage where I should have been playing 15 minutes later in front of thousands of people. That's Sean with me, trying to cheer me up, bless him. My mum took this photo and I felt like I let her down because I was planning to take her to America. I didn't cry, I just felt dead inside. We asked the organiser of the tournament if it was okay to let the time run down, and he said it was, but there was nothing he could do about the result. The opponent I lost to won the tournament, and he got his free accommodation and flights to Boston to play Worlds, while I returned back to my normal life, feeling like a failure. I never played VGC again. I continued to play the mainline Pokemon games, but after winning them, I had no drive to build a competitive team, much like I had done for those 2 years. I still enjoyed playing the games, but none of the NPCs knew who I was or what I had accomplished in 2015. Everything Pokemon related reminded me of my failure and filled me with unbearable guilt. Pokemon had been my life, but now it was just a source of sadness for me. The thing I loved had become the thing I hated. I was studying for my university exam when I decided to listen to a video of relaxing Pokemon music. I smiled as the familiar melodies took me back to days of preparing my teams and discussing intently with Sean what the perfect call was. Then the theme of Twin Leaf Town played. I've dropped my pen and was just stunned for a moment until I began to cry. I wasn't sobbing, but smiling. This was the first theme I'd experienced when I began my journey as a 7-year-old with a rented Pokemon Diamond. The theme that signaled the start of an incredible journey that would be my obsession. I realized that I was crying because I was nostalgic. I was 19, in university and preparing to begin my life as an adult. Time had flown so quickly, and it was because my childhood had been 100% comprised of Pokemon. I would give anything to be 7 again, with no responsibilities and no worries besides Cynthia's Garchomp. I suddenly realised losing in the top 4 had not been a failure, but an incredible achievement. I found peace with what happened 5 years ago. Pokemon was my childhood. It taught me to never give up, that I'll always be stronger with friends, to be brave and always have faith in yourself. Pokemon gave me my most triumphant victory, as well as my most crushing defeat. I may get older and lose time to play Pokemon, but the lessons learned will always be within my heart. I hope you feel the same way too. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.